World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the STT Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, the Eagles rolled into the bye week in a big way, beating the Giants handily. The Flyers are playing good hockey under Rick Tocchet. The Sixers are 4-0. The Union won their first playoff game. And yes, your Temple Owls are now 5-3 and going to be bowl eligible. I hate to mention that Penn State's going to Columbus Saturday to face number 1 Ohio. We have plenty to talk about in Philly sports, but Chet, we have to say before we get rolling, when we put our agenda together the night before, we say, just the subjects we're going to cover, and we said no deaths. And today, the Philadelphia market got hit with a couple staggering deaths. We can leave it at that.
Couple of big ones, Pierre Robert and Harry Donahue of KYW fame. We will talk about that a little bit later during the show, but a couple of big losses for sure. Hey, I just want to make one thing clear, Bill. We are not contractually obligated to discuss Penn State, Ohio State, so you can't make me.
Well, you make me talk about the Sixers, so maybe we'll have to go there.
All right.
But those Sixers are 4-0 and playing good ball. Hey, we have a great returning guest tonight in Philly Sports Network, Eagles managing editor Bryan Cameron. We'll be talking all things Birds as the NFL trade deadline approaches next week. Howie made a move just today.
Yep.
What else does Howie have up his sleeve? We'll find out from Bryan.
Going to be interesting because, the team has played very well over the past couple of weeks, but there are still some spots that could use a little reinforcement. So we're going to talk about that and much more with our guest who is here and ready to go.
Let's get to it. Let's welcome Bryan Cameron back to Philly Pressbox Radio. Bryan, welcome.
What's going on, gentlemen? How are you feeling today?
Hey, Bryan, great to see you again, man.
Likewise. It's been some time, but I'm glad to be back on the press box.
Absolutely. Bryan, first thing, what is your impression of the Eagles, how they're looking here at the bye, coming off two pretty good all-around performances to improve to 6-2?
Well, I won't say that they're better off without their best playmaker, so I'm not going to go off a whim and say that kind of pitch, but they're looking really good in my opinion. It kind of feels like they've established what their identity is going to be. Last year we saw a lot of shotgun, we saw a lot of RPOs, and so far what we're seeing as they progress is Jalen Hurts getting comfortable in the center. We're seeing Saquon break free on the center. We're seeing Tank Bigsby break free, and they're opening up the pass game with a lot of play action, which we saw, Devontae Smith really take advantage of. And I truly can't wait to see what a healthy A.J. Brown's going to look like. I know he's been hampered by that hamstring since training camp. So to get him back, it's going to be one of those things where it's like we're finally going to see the product of 2025 and what this Eagles team is going to look like going forward.
Well, Bryan, I thought obviously the offensive line was just tremendous against the Giants, and Brett Toth really stepped up and played really well. And I think him being in the center handling Dexter Lawrence made everything else just a little bit easier, it seemed.
Yeah, he did a hell of a job. I'm actually I was very surprised. The week prior, he wasn't looking too good. A lot of people were kind of just writing him off and wishing him that he would leave the team already. But I'll be honest, I was never a Brett Toth fan. I was a little skeptical when they brought him in this year, just because he's been kind of an on and off project over the last several years. So to kind of see him come into his own at, covering for Cam Jurgens, it was really good to see him doing what we've always expected of a product of, Stanley University.
Hey, Bryan, as Bill noted at the top, Howie did make a deal today. The Eagles picked up Michael Carter II from the Jets. They gave up, I guess, the wide receiver Mechie, who hadn't played much anyway. Do you know anything about Michael Carter?
Really good slot corner.
Yep.
26 years old. I know he's locked up into his contract for I think the next 2 years. This is going to be a really good move, and I'm very how can I say this? I'm very interested to see what Vic Fangio does, because in his last presser, he was mentioning how important it is to keep Cooper DeJean in the nickel position. But Michael Carter is a pretty good nickel cornerback, and we know that Adoree Jackson, Keelan Ringo, they haven't been as advertised. They haven't really held their own to the standard of what we expect. Filling in the void that Darius Slay left. So I feel like now Fangio could actually be creative, and if he throws Cooper outside and keeps Michael Carter at the nickel position, I think it could still be a very good secondary with that kind of move, or vice versa. Maybe Michael Carter could play outside and they keep Cooper in the middle of the field. It's one of those things where now Vic Fangio has another weapon in his arsenal that he could really be creative with.
Well, speaking of Vic Fangio, did you think Sunday that the game plan was much more aggressive? Maybe Nakobe Dean back in the mix. They moved some people around, or did they just play better? Did the players just play better?
I think the players just played better. I think there was a sense of pride. The last time they faced the Giants kind of punched them in the mouth, and I think we were all taken back by it because nobody was expecting that. It was one of those nights. Actually, I told my wife, "Hey, we could go out to dinner with our friends, and Eagles gonna win. I'm good." And I was watching the game during dinner, panicking. And I'm like, "Wow, this is really happening." But it was the proper punch in the mouth that led to the progress we needed to see. You kind of sense that this team has the notion where we have that dog back in that dog mentality back in the locker room, and it showed against the Giants. Now the Giants are not a measuring stick, but still nonetheless, it was good to see them kind of come out and show out.
Hey, let's talk about the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Really, really good the last two games. He had the perfect rating against the Vikings, played very well against the Giants as well. His numbers are pretty good. Some people are saying he's getting himself back into the MVP race. Now, the odds makers have him, 10th. In fact, there it is right there. He's still just 10th as far as Vegas is concerned. But is that a possibility that he can get himself considered as an MVP again?
Not being biased, I personally feel like Jalen Hurts deserves to be an MVP conversation the moment that the Eagles touched the first game of week one. He's that kind of player where the team doesn't go anywhere without him, and he takes them to that next level. And a lot of people overlook it just because Jalen isn't a flashy passer. He's not he doesn't bring the sexy stacks to the table, but he brings something that everybody wants, and that's a winning culture, a winning quarterback, and just a winning mindset. He doesn't give a lot of spice to the media. He doesn't say much at all. He's one of those guys that's just, he shows up to work, he shows out, and he goes back home and spends time with his family. So Jalen Hurts, I hate to say this, but Jalen Hurts, I feel like winning MVP is going to be one of those things where he's not Mr. Popular in the NFL. He's not, he's not considered the face of the NFL. He's not considered as the most handsome guy in school, whatever the case may be. Back in high school, it's a popularity contest nowadays. But if you compare his stats against guys like Lamar Jackson in their career, he's lined up right next to them. And possibly in certain stats, he's even better. I still don't get why people throw so much dirt on his name. He's a hell of a quarterback, and just a hell of an athlete. We're blessed to have him in Philadelphia. The guy can take everything we give him, and he could dish it right back.
I'll take Super Bowl rings. That I'll go for that. They can have all the MVPs they want.
Exactly.
Hey, Brian. Kevin Petula got a lot of heat. People were after his head. They come back from that 10 days off. As you said, they modify the offense. They go under center. They're playing much better. You ran through that. Kevin Petula needs some credit now for all the people that were beating him up and wanting to run him out of town.
He does deserve a little bit of praise. It feels like Kevin was kind of just doing one of those things where he was trying to do too much with what he had, maybe overthinking it a bit. You want to get the ball into the hands of AJ Brown, the Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, but you also have to remember you want to get the ball into Saquon's hands. And I feel like this year they went away from the RPO, so we don't really get to see much of Jalen Hurts' magic in that phase of the offense. So it just felt like Kevin Petula had a toy chest full of great weapons, great things to play with, and he was just overthinking it. But you're kind of seeing things simplify now. Like, they feel like they went back to basics, and that's something that I've been preaching to see on Flipping the Birds. It's just like they have to just scale things back and just kind of get back to the flow of things. And I think they found the magic. I mean, their offensive line is pretty beat up coming after last year. Landon Dickinson is probably not gonna be fully healthy until after the season. Cam Jurgens is filling his injuries. Lane Johnson's in and out at times. Tyler Steen has his first season under as a starter under his belt, and Jordan Mailata. I mean, he's Jordan Mailata at the end of the day, but nonetheless, like I feel like under center now, you're giving these guys the ability to do whatever they want. They want to mash the defenders in the face. They want to push guys around. So you're giving them that ability, and they're rewarding you back by giving Jalen Hurts a little bit more time in the pocket. It seems like everything's kind of it's starting to mesh little by little. It sucks because our expectations were here at the start of the season, but nonetheless, they're looking like they're progressing in the right direction.
Yeah, the O-line, even banged up, played very, very well on this past Sunday, especially in the run game. We saw what Saquon Barkley did, and then Tank Bigsby running for 100 yards. What did you make of the running attack, and can we expect more of that going forward?
I loved it. It brought me back to LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi. To see Tank just kind of, I think it was like 2nd and 31, and he got the first down. Yeah. That to me was evidence that they need to give him the ball more, and not so much anything against Saquon because he put up 150 yards, and I think he had 2 touchdowns himself, if I'm not mistaken. Saquon, he's coming off a 2,000-yard season. That's not easy on the body. That's not easy on the mind at times, especially on the legs. And a guy like Tank to spell Saquon at times, now you have a double-headed monster in the backfield that you could really take advantage of. We had that with Kenny Gainwell. Gainwell, he had spurts where he looked really good. He had spurts where he didn't look really good. They try to make it happen with Will Shipley, AJ Dillon. It's not working. I think going further, you'll see a little bit more Tank Bigsby going forward.
Well, Brian, give us the scoop here. We got AJ Brown in the media doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Is there a rift? Is there a problem with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts? And my thinking is this: if there is, by next Tuesday, AJ Brown won't be an Eagle because Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie are not going to let AJ Brown do what Terrell Owens and ruin their ball club. If he's here on Wednesday, then there isn't a problem and it's all media hype. Am I right or wrong?
You're right. I could definitely say that. What I can definitely allude to is that, listen, we all know the relationship with AJ and Jalen. Jalen being the godfather of AJ's daughter. That's not something that anybody holds, lightly at the end of the day, right? And I feel like they do have that friendship there. But as time progresses, like as people get older and they start their own families, like things just aren't always going to be the same. And these are two guys that I feel like they have the same mindset in their positions. AJ just wants the ball because he wants to produce. He wants to make sure he puts his team in the position to succeed. Jalen wants to make sure he makes that happen as well. I personally think, and this is kind of just listening around, listening to the players speak and listening to some guys talk around. I think it's all media pushed. You have a lot of the big wigs really pushing it. I feel like they're going to get a kind of a stipend for it at this rate. But it's one of those things where Howie Roseman is not going to trade a player that's top 5 in his position just because. I think if it was a bigger issue, AJ would not have stepped on the field as an Eagle to start this season. Now, another thing to take in factor is the dead cap is ridiculous over the next 2 seasons. Howie took that for Carson Wentz, but I don't think Jeffrey Lurie and Howie are going to pay a wide receiver to produce elsewhere and just, and them have the scraps. We saw what the offense looks like with Devontae Smith and Jahan Dotson. That's great. But we saw that offense against the Giants. We didn't see that offense against the Chiefs, against the Rams, against the Lions. AJ Brown's here to stay. The guy loves Philadelphia. He loves his team. He loves being here. He doesn't like dealing with the media, but I think AJ, that's just one of those things that he kind of puts his foot in his mouth at times. But I think also it's just one of those things where I feel like the Eagles players in the background, they laugh a lot. They laugh a lot about the things that we say. We're like a comic relief for them at this rate because behind the scenes, these guys are all good. The friendships are there. The understanding is there. The respect is there. This is still the same guy that I feel like stood up in the locker room when Jalen got hurt against this and didn't play against the Saints. AJ stood in the locker room and took all the heat. He's still the same guy taking all the heat just to speak out loud to make sure that this team gets going.
And the weird thing is, we're hearing this stuff from him through other sources and some of his, social media stuff. After a couple of victories, we had the big win against the Vikings when he did catch 8 passes, and then the next game, that was the previous game, and then against the Vikings, he did catch 4 passes for 2 touchdowns. So, settle these things in the locker room. There's no need to take it to social media. Talk to your coach, talk to your teammates, and resolve it there. Don't you agree?
I do agree with that. I also do. I wouldn't put it past AJ Brown to troll the media a little bit, because a lot of times, like, a lot of people are harping on the "using me but not using me" slogan, which actually is a Bible verse, and AJ Brown is very into his Bible text and very spiritual in that aspect, and I completely respect that out of him. But I think people are taking everything he says and running with it. Like, AJ Brown could say, hey, my finger hurts, and the fact that he said hurts is gonna blow up, and people are gonna say, oh my God, he's talking about Jalen Hurts. And it's one of the things where he's doing a good job of pulling everybody's leg. But at the end of the day, I mean, he's no Terrell Owens. On the field, he's Terrell Owens, but in the locker room, he's super calm. He's chill. I've been in the locker room plenty of times, and he's probably one of the more calm guys. Him and Smitty have a great relationship. I truly believe him and Jalen still have that respect for each other. I don't think it's fallen off the wagon that much. But I think it's one of those things where, as time goes, like, you don't grow apart, but, you focus on the things that matter to you most. And as we get older, like, family matters, kids matter. And it's, sometimes people just drift apart a little bit.
Hey, Brian, I wanted to ask you specifically about Zach Bond. Everybody knows the story of how he got here, and he became an all-pro in his first year. He almost seems to me that he's playing better this year than he did last.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He seems a lot more comfortable this year. I think the big contract, the respect in the locker room, and how high they hold him right now, and the fact that he's mentoring a guy like Jahad Campbell as well. Like, the Eagles don't take that lightly at all. I love this linebacking room, from Nakobe to Jahad to Zach and even Trotter. Like, these guys are, they're well put together. They're not like Eagles past, where one thing I can say about this team, like, to the outside world, the ego looks like it's there, but it's a lot of these guys leave their egos at the door and show up for each other. And I think that's huge. Zach Bond is a huge testament of that. The guy is just a pure natural leader, and I don't know how the Saints fumbled him, but I'm so happy that we were able to get him and to maximize off his potential.
Well, speaking of team leaders, another one is coming out of retirement to rejoin the Eagles, and we expect to see him on the field out at Lambeau Field. We're talking, of course, about Brandon Graham. He's probably going to be, a 10 to 15 snap guy, but what can he do for this team?
This one breaks my heart a little bit, because I don't think he can, but I don't want Brandon to tarnish his legacy somehow, some way. He went out on top as a Super Bowl champ. But one thing I can say is that BG brings something that nobody else can bring to this locker room, and that's just energy. The guy in the locker room, he's before and after games, he's just the life of the party. And we know on the field, he's definitely the life of the party. He's always mouthing off to anybody and everybody. Yeah. But it looks like BG has a lot left in the tank. We saw him actually be, if I'm not mistaken, he was actually one of their better edge rushers last season, if not the best edge rusher they had, even at his age. He's just been, it seems like one of those guys that just get better as they age. Brandon Graham just has a motor that can't be stopped. I'm happy he's back, but at the same time, it's bittersweet, just because if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, it's one of those things. I like the fact that he rode out on top.
Hey, Brian, Nick Sirianni, another guy that is kind of flying under the radar. But looking at his record, he's 54-22 in regular season. That's a 71% win percentage. 6-3 in the postseason. His total is over 70% if you put them together. I don't think Nick gets quite enough credit, even as a Super Bowl champion. What do you say?
Nick is the Jalen Hurts of coaches, except he's not quiet. That's I think one thing I respect that Sirianni is here is that he's kind of kept himself when it hasn't given the media too much to talk about. In years past, he's just done the most theatrical kind of things that's kind of thrown me off a bit at times. But he does deserve a lot of respect, and I think what what really is showing off this year is that even with the AJ Brown noise, even with the team, the offense not looking how they should, like with all the noise, we didn't see them buckle at all. Nick just kept at his business, and it shows growth because in 2023, when Brian Johnson was the OC, and oh man, this guy, oh wow, Sean Desai was a DC. We saw him buckle. His knees buckled for sure because he took over play calling OC. They brought down Matt Patricia, and it just became a whole debacle. We didn't see that this year. He trusted the process. He allowed Kevin Patullo to do what Kevin Patullo does. The players spoke out. Everybody came together and figured out what needs to be done. Defensively, he's never going to touch that because Vic Fangio cannot be touched whatsoever, and I love that aspect of this team. But Nick, he's showing a level of maturity that I feel like we wanted it to be there from the get, and to kind of see him grow from the gardener to now the champ. It's just like, it's one of those things where it's a great story for the Eagles franchise. And if he's here for about 5 to 10 more years, it's going to be one of those things where we look back and it's like, wow, like to think this guy that who we all thought was a scrub ended up being one of the greater coaches of Philadelphia Eagles history.
Well, Brian, this bye comes at a real good time because the schedule is a little difficult the next few weeks. As I put it up here, after the bye, the Eagles are at Lambeau Field against the Packers on a Monday night, November 10th. And then the following Sunday, another night game, this one, the Eagles welcoming the Lions to the Link. How important are these next couple of games?
Can we just talk about that? I'm very happy that there's only one 1:00 game going forward. Like now I could put my kids to sleep and enjoy football and just like not have to worry about driving anywhere. Like
now, some people love the 1:00 games. You prefer the later ones, huh?
I feel like the 1:00 games are great if you're going to it, but if you're home, it's kind of one of those things like, in the morning, if I go to church with my family, I got to rush home. I got to get things sorted and it kind of throws off my day. But yeah, it is a tough schedule. I feel like, Green Bay and it's going to be the measuring stick right now because they are the number 1 seed in NFC because they have that tie. But we're going to see, where this Eagles team actually stands from last season to this season. I truly think they're still the cream of the crop in the NFC. Detroit doesn't look like, how they used to look, in my opinion. They did have flashes so far this season. Green Bay, I feel like, yes, you have Micah Parsons, but we dealt with Micah Parsons twice a year for how many years? It's one of those guys that we know how to play. And Jordan Love doesn't have the arsenal that we have at the end of the day, I feel. Commanders, I feel like I called it at the end of last year. But Jaden Daniels has been dealing with that injury. Their wide receivers are falling apart. It is a tough schedule on paper, but it's one of those things where it's like the Eagles could literally run the table from here on out. Because whatever they do will dictate a win or a loss at this point. Like they are that, that team that they have so many tools at their disposal. It's one of those things where you got to pick your poison. Do you want to get beat by the air or do you want to get beat by the ground? Do you want to get beat by Jalen Carter or do you want Quinton Mitchell to hold you down? Like it's one of those things where it's just they're a very well-rounded roster, and I feel like they're still the top roster in the NFL. Do I expect them to go fully undefeated or anything of that sort? Not at all. But I do feel like, they're going to be in that conversation for the 1 seed at the end of the season, one way or another.
I agree with you. By the way, Chet will be in Lambeau Field. He didn't tell you that.
Nice.
Can't wait. My first time bucket list item. I'll be there.
Listen, I'm very jealous of Chet. Okay, because every time I see his Instagram, he's at a new venue trying different beer, and I'm like, I'm just home on my couch and I'm toasting to the to the Instagram photo at this rate.
Oh, I love it.
Well, Brian, one thought on that schedule for me is Detroit. That's the game I have circled. I want to see how they play against that high-powered offense. I think Detroit's still a pretty good ball club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Detroit kind of reminds me of the 2018 New Orleans Saints, where they were good that year before. Then the year after, they tried showing up and showing out, and they blew out the Eagles. It's just I don't know. This defense for me is everything. The Eagles defense is a very, very good put together unit from top to bottom, especially now with Michael Carter. And I'm praying to God that they make another move for a guy like Jalen Phillips or Bradley Chubb from the Dolphins. I think adding that kind of dynamic to the edge will be really good. But I feel like the reason I feel so confident about the end of the second half of the season is because this defense is still who they were last year. Yeah, the sacks aren't coming at a dozen, but they're still showing up. Jalen Carter's coming to his own. We saw the best of Jordan Davis in the beginning of the season. I'm pretty sure he's going to come to his own after the bye. Brandon Graham's going to be fully loaded. Nolan Smith, we're getting back that nobody's speaking about as well. Jalen Hunt's coming to his own. Zach Bond's there. Ja Cam, it's a fully loaded defense, and I feel like it's going to be that's going to determine where the Eagles stand at the end of the year. Is this defense, not the offense, in my opinion.
Hey, Bryan, we are out of time. Thank you so much. What's going on at PSN? Our buddy Phil Stifle says you guys recently revamped your website. Is that true?
Yeah, so we've merged with Metro Philadelphia. So once you go to metrophiladelphia.com or phillysportsnetwork.com, you're gonna see it's very identical. We're a branch off of them. We cover their entire sports division, and yeah, I mean we still have our lineup of shows: the Outside Insider, as well as Flipping the Birds. If for Philly fans, we have Alley Talk. And yeah, we're still a moving machine. One thing I love about Philly, about PSN, is just the culture there has always been dynamic, and it's one of those things where it's like you guys. You guys. I feel like a lot of people like us, we relate to the fans, and that's what fans want to hear at the end of the day. They want to hear actual factual talk instead of spewed hate or spewed trade ideas that don't make sense. Whatever the case may be.
Gotcha.
Right. All right. Well, Bryan, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. It's not way too long. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Bryan.
Hey,
take care.
go Birds.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, Chet, Philly Pressbox Radio is part of the STT Sports Network, as in Set the Trends. It's a network set up by our pal Phil Stifle, host of the terrific Trending in the AM show that you can find every weekday morning on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Phil. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Phil's show is on there, and so is ours. Yep. You can find Philly Pressbox Radio there in addition to our own YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Again, it's the STT Sports Network setting the trends for what sports talk should be.
Mm-hmm.
Chet, we're getting ready to go to November. What is going on at the Irish Rover Station House?
The Irish Rover Station House, Bill, over in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Terrific food and always 24 beers on tap. The Rover has trivia every Wednesday at 7 p.m. They have Killer Burger Thursdays, dinner specials Thursday through Sunday, and music most weekends. This Saturday, the tunes are courtesy Oliver Daggum. Before you know it, I'll be talking about the annual Ugly Sweater Party, but not yet. That's in December when that happens. If you haven't yet been there, check this place out. The Irish Rover is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne and on the web at irishroverstationhouse.com.
It's me, Jackie Bam Bam from 93.3 WMMR, Philly Pressbox Radio. Chet, Phil, what are you doing? It's me, Jackie Bam Bam. Hey, Chet, Phil, I love you. All the best. Bye.
And Bill, I play Jackie Bam Bam right there because, he and everybody else at MMR is just heartbroken today, as are listeners around the Philadelphia region because of the news. As you mentioned at the top, Pierre Robert has left us. A surprise. He hadn't been sick or anything, so we're still looking for the details on that. But he just turned 70 years old back in August. He was at MMR for 44 years, and he planned to be there for at least another couple of years. He loved his work there, and we all loved listening to him. Middays without him just won't be the same anymore. As I noted on Facebook, I got to meet the guy somewhere around 25 to 30 times. I bugged him for a picture because I'm a picture guy, so I got at least 20 pictures with him, and there's just a couple right there on the outer edge. A true Philly legend, and as he would often call people, a good citizen. So rest in peace, Pierre Robert. Did you listen to him in your youth, Bill?
Well, I wasn't there long,
because I know you moved to Florida in the 90s, right?
But yeah, well, no, I actually left up there in 1980.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not realize it was that long.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I used to come back and forth and certainly knew who he was and all that. Never got to meet him, but you could tell when you see these social media things. And everybody's got pictures of him. He's one of those guys, that everybody seemed to know, and he was everybody's friend.
Yeah, everybody on social media today commenting about him, and even right here We had, I think, Denny also threw a comment up there. Yeah, rest in peace, Pierre Robert. So I'm going to miss him. I was quite saddened when I heard that news today. And then just a couple hours after that, we found out that Harry Donahue, longtime KYW guy, he hosted Inside Golf in more recent years, but he was at KYW some 35 years, I believe, 1979 to 2014 when he retired. He did Temple football and basketball along the way. Yep. He is in the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. So Harry Donahue was 77 and he died this morning.
And it seemed that news came out about an hour apart.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell you, I put in the agenda notes. We're not talking deaths this week because we don't have any to talk about. Well, hey, Chet, we missed the Flyers last week 2-2, so let's get to it.
Yep.
After last night's win against Pittsburgh in the shootout, their record is 5-3-1. And one thing's for sure, Chet, they play hard every night. There's never going to be an easy game. Rick Tocchet has them playing pretty good hockey right now.
Yeah, and as luck would have it, I turned on last night's game right as they were heading into overtime. So I did watch the overtime and the shootout. As exciting as overtime, and while you hate, shootouts, they've won 2 in a row. They're playing well in these extra periods and shootouts, and they won these last 2 with Sam Ersson in goal. Some smooth shootout goals, by the way, by both Mishkov and Brink to win it. That Bobby Brink one was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, and Bobby Brink had a goal earlier in that game as well.
He did.
But yeah, the Flyers dominated that game through the first 2 periods. Pittsburgh played well in the third period. Flyers held on. Crosby, that rascal, because that's the only thing I'm going to come up with right now. He scored the game-tying goal. But then thanks to Sid, the kid, for getting himself booted out of the shootout.
Yeah.
Nice thinking, Sid.
Yeah.
But they're playing good hockey, and you got to like it if they continue on. Their defense playing much better with pretty much the same guys. They're getting pretty good goaltending. Ersson gave up 1 softie there, the first goal of the game, but overall was solid. He was excellent in the overtime, excellent in the shootout again. I think they might make some noise here.
Yeah, and kind of a weird schedule, but it has helped them. They played, I think, 6 out of the first 9 games at home, and the next 3 games are at home as well. So that's 9 out of 12. Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, they have games against Nashville, Toronto, and Calgary at the Xfinity Mobile Arena, or whatever it's called now.
The Wells Fargo Center. Yeah. That one.
You're going to keep calling it that, right?
I don't even know what the name is yet. Whatever.
Yes, Xfinity.
Well, you know what happens every year with the Flyers? They sometimes have these quirks in the schedule because they always go on the long Christmas.
Yes, the holidays
trip and for the ice capades or whatever in the world it is.
I heard Rick Tocchet on the radio today on 97.5. He said Vladar will be back in net on Thursday. He's trying to keep both of those guys fresh, and both of them have played quite well of late for sure. So we'll see what happens there. And I like this quote from Tocchet after last night's game about the team's togetherness. You eat together as a pack. If you're the lone wolf, you're done, but a pack lives. That's good stuff right there.
Right, there you go. And one other guy to watch, Chet. Michkov off to a little bit of a slow start.
He is.
Zegras.
How about that pass the other night?
He has got some energy going on, and it was kind of fun when they had that little scrum at the end there. Zegras was the one irritating, instigating, and doing all kinds of fun things. You kind of like that energy, and that's a young guy that was supposed to be a superstar that kind of fell in a crack, and Flyers got him, taking a chance with him, and so far he looks like he's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so far so good for the Flyers. 5-3-1, 3 more home games, so we'll see what happens. Hey, one other thing, hockey related. I don't know if you heard about this. There's a documentary coming out next week about Pelle Lindbergh. It's called The Swede of Philadelphia, and it's going to be playing in a bunch of Philadelphia area theaters November 7th to the 13th. So I'm going to be out of town much of that period, but boy, I would love to see that because, everybody loved Pelle Lindbergh, who died, I guess, 40 years ago next month.
Wow. Time's flying. Have to check that out.
Yep.
All right, Chet, tell me, what could be better than the Eagles tailgating with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia? Bob Cavanaugh and the gang of Cavs Philly tailgates.
Yeah, Cav, by the way, who's out in Los Angeles with his son,
He's at the World Series.
How about that? Apparently he does that every year. Must be nice. Way to go, Cav. Well, he's not going to World Series games. Cav is cooking up a terrific catering business. He's been doing that for 35 years. Known best for their tailgate parties, Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgate's Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events, parties, you name it. Of course, Cav hosts tailgates before all Eagles games outside the link, so you can expect more of those in November when the Eagles do have home games against the Lions and Bears. Get all the details on those and other events at Cavs' website, phillytailgates.com. And if you have questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go.
Hey, Chet,
Yes.
how about your Philadelphia 76ers? They're 4-0 with just tremendous play from Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and others.
They have been amazing, Bill. Truly amazing. I am trying to figure out what's going on with my screen here. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, the 4-0 start. I hit a bad button here. Should not do that again. A 4-0 start. And the most impressive thing, Bill, is in 3 of those games, they were down by double digits. And in some cases, into the fourth quarter, and they came back. And that was the case on Tuesday night, last night, after, a slow start because it was the second game of a back-to-back. But, yeah, very impressive. I know it's only 4 games, but Tyrese Maxey leading the league in scoring at 37.5 points per game. VJ Edgecombe, as you mentioned, 3 great games. A little bit of a slower game last night, but he's still averaging something like 22 points a game. If I can read here. Yeah, 22 points. And then you got Kelly Oubre Jr. and Quentin Grimes, both averaging over 17. Joel Embiid, who is still on a minutes restriction after a not-so-great first game, in the second and fourth games, the 2 others that he played, he was putting up a point a minute. And I don't know how he did it in last night's game, 25 points in 23 minutes. He didn't even look like he was that involved, but he made his shots, and he's going to hopefully continue to stay healthy, and the minutes will go up. So I'm crossing my fingers, Bill.
Well, I thought the interesting thing about that, I didn't see that part of the game until near the end and the overtime last night because I was watching the Flyers. But when it was crunch time, Embiid was not on the court. It was Tyrese Maxey's team.
That's been the case every game.
Yeah, and minute restrictions or whatever, close game, overtime, doesn't matter. Embiid wasn't in the mix, and they got great play off the bench from their backup center, sir.
Yeah, Bona was huge in that fourth quarter with blocks, and the one basket he got was on the putback that gave them the lead. So he's been good. Drummond's been a rebounding machine. So, yeah, you asked the question last week, is this maybe Tyrese Maxey's team? And it clearly is. I mean, that could change to an extent when Embiid gets more minutes and gets healthier, but I think the torch has been passed to Tyrese Maxey.
Well, I would have liked to have seen the game, so I can't really comment, in too much detail on this part about when Embiid was in the game. But as long as the offense doesn't slow down for him, that's all good. If he can run the court a little bit and play this fast game that Maxey and Edgecombe are going to play, then that's great. But they can't slow it down to make it Embiid's offense. That's been my beef with him over the last couple of years. Not him, them.
Yeah, and so far so good. I mean, you can't argue with 4-0. So we'll see going forward. I'm not going to make any bold predictions like, yeah, they're a definite playoff team. Yeah, this is the year they finally get past the second round. No, it's way, way, way too early. But
yeah,
you got to like
only 4 games in.
And just like the Flyers, they look like they're having fun, and they're definitely playing hard. I mean, the fact they've come back in 3 of those 4 wins from double-digit deficits to get the victory, you got to be playing hard to do that. So a lot of good signs, and Nick Nurse looks a lot happier this year than he did all of last season, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the other thing last night that I noticed was the energy on the bench during the overtime. The bench guys were as excited for the players on the court as anybody, and they were super excited about that big putback that you mentioned.
Yeah,
and the block shots that were coming, and just the fact that they were playing good ball, and everybody was involved, and that was really good to see.
Yeah. So unlike last year's, trash heap of a season, they are fun to watch this year, and I do hope it continues. My one question is, what's going to happen when Jared McCain comes back in the next week or two? Because they already have 3 guards who are averaging anywhere from 17 to 37 points a game. McCain is also a guard. I mean, I guess each of them can play small forward if need be. They basically going with the 3-guard offense much of the time now anyway, but man, they're going to have depth at guard, I'll tell you that, but I don't know if they have enough minutes for all 4 of those guys.
Well, and you can't play 40 minutes a game every night.
Yeah, Maxey played 47 last night.
Unless you're Will Chamberlain. So, so we'll see. And people get banged up, and, you need those guys. Hey, the Celtics are coming to town on Friday.
Yeah, probably looking for a little revenge. Well, Bill, I know we're going to make our picks eventually. Maybe we'll talk some other stuff, maybe a little college football. But in the meantime, I'm going to sneak in. I'm going to sneak in a 2-minute random Chet. How about that?
Who knew? Who knew?
A little surprise for you, Bill. So here we go.
Hey, watch it now.
So last week, I went to the multiplex to see the highly anticipated film Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere. I saw it in the IMAX format, which is always a great way to see a movie. The film, based on the 2023 book with the same title by Warren Zanes, was written and directed by Scott Cooper. And it's primarily about the Boss's making of the Nebraska album in 1981 and 82. And the fact that the powers that be at his record company weren't exactly thrilled about him doing a low-key, folksy solo album in the aftermath of the hit 1980 double album, The River, and popular singles, including the title tune and the big hit, Hungry Heart. Plus, Bruce was adamant that the new album would come with no singles, no tour, and no press. Beyond that core story, there's a fictitious relationship story about Bruce and a gal named Faye, played by Odessa Young, a slew of scenes featuring iconic Asbury Park locales, lots of flashbacks related to Bruce's troubled relationship with his father, played well by the always great Stephen Graham, and yes, a good bit about Bruce's battle with depression. So yeah, it's a bit heavy, not the feel-good flick that you might be expecting from a biopic. Oh, the Bears' Jeremy Allen White was very good as Bruce, and yes, he does sing quite well. Jeremy Strong was solid as Bruce's manager, John Landau. So how was it overall? Well, it was a very good movie, but I can't say that I enjoyed Deliver Me from Nowhere as much as other recent musical biopics like Walk the Line, Bohemian Rhapsody, or last year's Bob Dylan story, A Complete Unknown. Still, if you're a Springsteen fan, I'm pretty sure you will enjoy the movie. My grade, a solid B+. There you have it.
Yeah, well, whatever.
It's worth checking out, I'm telling you.
I got nothing for that.
All right.
No. Probably his worst album ever.
It was not one of my favorites. I did not love Nebraska. Yeah.
It wasn't a good album. I can't imagine it being a good movie, but
no, the movie was better than the album in my view. So there you go.
Okay. We'll leave it at that.
All right.
Hey, it is time to make our weekly picks. I'll start this by saying I already burned last week's tapes, Jet. What a miserable week for me. It was terrible. Hey, so how did Boop and Bob Vitrone Jr., for those that don't know, and you and I do in week 7?
Well, let's go to the pick'em standings. And there it is, Bill. Yeah, you went 2-3. I went a perfect 5-0, so I managed to pick up 3 games on you. Boop took advantage of both of us. He went 4-1 and moved into first place. So I did better than him, but he passed you. He's in first place. But wow, what a tight race. Boop in first place by 1 game over you and me, Bill.
Well, everybody's going to stink. I got my stink out of the way, I hope.
I've had a few stinkers myself.
Yeah. Well, hey, just to clarify how we're making our picks this year, we're picking the winners of the 5 games every week with no point spreads. Always the NFC East games, always the Sunday night football game, and we throw in additional games as needed to get to 5. So this week, here you go. San Francisco at the Giants. The 49ers are minus 1.5.
Let's see what Boop has to say about that. Again, I have not looked at these ahead of time, so It's a mystery to me. Boop says, real tough blow for Scatabo. Yeah, it was. But the New Yorkers suck it up for one game as the Niners play their NFL high 6th road game of the season already. Wow. Boop is picking the New York Giants. Now, see, that's good info by Boop, but I didn't know all that. I'm taking the Niners.
I'm taking the Niners as well.
All right.
Seattle at Washington, Sunday Night Football. Seattle minus 2.5. I'm surprised it's only 2.5.
Yeah, really. Boop says a year ago, Washington was about to move to 7-2 and were atop the NFC East. Since then, they are just 10-9. Make it 10-10. Boop's pick is the Seahawks. My pick is also the Seahawks on the road.
And one of us on this show said at the beginning of the year, Washington was going to take some big steps backwards, and they are. I'm taking Seattle.
Yeah, I thought even if Daniel stayed healthy, they were probably not going to be as good as last year.
Well, they're banged up.
They're banged up. Banged up. Also, and a tougher schedule this year. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Arizona at Dallas on Monday Night Football. Dallas minus 2.5. Boy, did they get shellacked last week.
Yeah, boy, I don't know. Well, let's see what Boop says. Boop says Arizona has lost 5 straight games by a total of 13 points. Maybe they aren't what their record says they are. Still, Boop is picking the Cardinals. I'm taking Arizona as well. Dallas can keep losing as far as I'm concerned.
I want to take Dallas.
You took Dallas last week. How'd that work out?
Yeah, well, that's why I was 2 and whatever.
2-3.
I'm going to take Dallas. Their offense isn't awful. Their defense is what's awful. And
yes,
I just don't know about Arizona. I'm going to take Dallas at home because it's Monday night.
Okay.
Biggest game of the AFC season, probably right here. Kansas City goes to Buffalo. The Chiefs are a 1.5 favorite on the road.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. We know who Boops is taking in this one because Boop's second favorite team is the Kansas City Chiefs. And he says, don't look now, but the Andy Reids are starting to look scary good again. Chiefs. I'm going to go the other way. I'm taking the home team. I know they've had their trouble with KC, but they're going to win this one. The Bills at home.
Yeah, I beat this thing up one way and down the other, and I hate to go against Andy Reid, but Buffalo's going to have to break the schneid here at some point. They're at home. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. And that gets us to the very surprising Indianapolis Colts, who are the best team in the AFC. They're at the Steelers. Colts are minus 3.5. Steelers coming off a loss to the Packers the other night.
All right. Boop says, I turned on Sunday Night Football and thought I was watching the Savannah Bananas. Oh, wow. Boop.
33 uniforms they were wearing.
Boop is taking, yeah, I know. That's correct. Boop is taking the Steelers in this one. That is surprising. I'm taking Indianapolis.
I am taking the Indianapolis Colts for a lot of reasons.
I know you would.
Yes, sir. All right. Next up, our margin of victory pool. We stunk that up too. How are our standings after 8 weeks? How did Atlanta get blown out by the awful Miami Dolphins? And me and you both were stuck with Atlanta.
Well, let me tell you.
I picked them, and you got stuck with them.
As you recall, last week I forgot to make the pick ahead of the show. So at the last minute, as we were making the picks, I said, I'm going to look. I saw Atlanta was a decent favorite. I didn't even look further down, or I would have taken Indianapolis. But no, I took Atlanta, and it got me. It got you as well. So you and I got 0 points last week. Boop, meanwhile, did take Indy. He got 24 points. He is running away with things for now, Bill. 132 points to 81 for you, 70 for me. We have to make up some ground.
Yes, we do, and it's getting pretty hard, but let's do it.
Let's see.
So who's Boop have this week?
Boop this week has the Chargers over the Titans, and that was one of the teams I was considering, but I took the other LA team. I'm taking the Rams over New Orleans.
Rams over New Orleans. Nice. I actually looked at that Chargers game, but I've already used them, so I couldn't do it.
Right.
I'm going out on a limb here a little bit, Chet. I have taken the Lions over the Vikings.
Interesting.
You would think that would be should be a close game.
No, I wouldn't actually. I would think Detroit will win that one. Vikings, I guess McCarthy's back at quarterback.
Carson Wentz is out for the season.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So
McCarthy hasn't played in a while. Their backup is a guy who I think has never played. So, yeah, I think Detroit's a good pick.
Yeah, we're going to find out. That's for sure. Hey, great guest tonight at Bryan Cameron. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
Well, Bill, let's see if I can find a picture of this guy. Do I have a picture of this guy? I do. Yeah, we had such a good time talking to this guy last time he was on, less than 4 months ago, that we invited him back. He says he wants to talk Eagles and Phillies, and he can do that. It's Kevin Reevey. We're bringing him back to talk about both of those teams. You'll remember that Kevin, with our good friend Jack Fritz, co-authored the book Ring the Bell. So we look forward to having him back on Philly Pressbox Radio to talk Eagles and Phillies and their off season.
Well, I didn't know Kevin was coming back, but I'm kind of excited about that because I follow him on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
He's got some outlandish posts.
He does. So take
he's
some
a little
notes.
bit all over there. Yeah. So follow him this week if you're out there and want to watch us next week because we might have some action.
It's going to be fun. Kevin Reevey.
Yes, sir. Hey, Chet, I'm not sure we could say much about Penn State game this week, but we do have to give a shout out to Casey Keeler and the 5-3 Temple Owls. How about it?
Yeah, I guess so. Pretty impressive first 2/3 of the season, 5-3 with East Carolina coming into Philly this weekend. And if you're wondering, the Owls are actually underdogs. The Owls 4.5-point underdogs. So we'll see what happens. Regarding Penn State, Ohio State, this is all I'm going to say about it. It was 2 months ago that we thought this was going to be a huge game and one of the most watched games of the season at the Horseshoe. Now, who even cares? The Buckeyes have held up their end of the stick. They're number one. They're undefeated. Penn State, you know what their record is. Just a disastrous season. Ohio State is a 20.5-point favorite.
Yeah, and it's not enough.
You're probably right. But I'll tell you, the over-under is 43.5. I'm thinking of betting the over. I know you're not a betting guy, but that over sounds good. 43.5. Yeah,
I think that over sounds really good. If I were a betting man, I'd I'd go 20.5 isn't enough points and 43
probably
isn't
right.
enough points. Yep. And hey, Casey Keeler, good coach. Was a good coach at Delaware for a long time. The Owls need 6 wins to be bowl eligible. They're going to get there, and they got a chance of winning 7 or 8 games. Good for them. First year.
They have Army the following week, I believe.
Yeah. So good for them. Looking forward to that. Not looking so forward to what's going to happen in Columbus this Saturday. That's for sure.
What is this? Mr. Sandman, who is a faithful follower of Phil's show. Schneid is a Yiddish word for streak. So off the Schneid, I guess he's referring to.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, did you see that Wilford Brimley also checked in earlier?
Oh, nice. There you go.
Again this week. Yeah, keep an eye on your blood sugar this Halloween. Do not let diabetes beat us.
That's right. There you go. Hey, Chet, I wanted to ask you, what a lot of noise being made about the Dave Dombrowski press conference a week or so ago when people thought that he called out Bryce Harper.
He kind of did,
along with some others. What do you make of that, and what do you make of Harper's response?
Well, interesting. Yeah, he questioned, I guess, whether Bryce Harper can get back to being elite, implying that he hasn't really been elite like this year. Injuries played a part. Harper, I guess, took offense to that. He did an interview with Matt Gelb. Not real happy about Mr. Dombrowski's comments. But, hey, I got to side with Dombrowski here. Although he shouldn't have said it, he is kind of right. Harper is not considered, I don't think, elite by most baseball followers anymore. And as we discussed previously, in the 3 games the Phillies lost to the Dodgers, Harper didn't do much. Neither did the other key guys. So if you're going to be elite, you got to step up and make some noise and do some positive things in big games when it matters the most. So not really a great time to mouth off, which is, I think, what Harper's doing right now.
Well, I think I got a real problem with Dombrowski putting that out in the media.
Yeah, he should not have put that out there. I agree with that.
You know, especially this media where it's just sharks and blood every minute. And then, as Bryan said, anything that the media can get their hands on, they're going to run with. On. And yeah, I got a real problem with the way that was handled. If you got a problem with Harper, go talk to him about it. Don't let the world know about it.
And we'll talk more next week with Kevin Reevey about that, see what he thinks about, how Harper's going to handle this and what the future holds for Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, and the Phillies' other free agents. Will they bring Harrison Bader back? So lots to discuss on that front.
Well, here's 3 comments I'm going to put up here.
Okay.
There's PJ with Dombrowski. Harper has been terrible.
Not true.
From Dennis. Robbie says he looks disinterested. So there's a quick look at 3 fans that aren't on the Harper train.
First of all, my friend Malloy doesn't really watch baseball that much. He should not be commenting on what Bryce Harper's doing. So stick it, Dennis. Good talking to you, though, pal. Secondly, Robbie, love Robbie, but I don't think Bryce looked disinterested this season. I disagree with that. I don't think he was elite either, but I don't think he looked disinterested. You know, he's always got some kind of injury that hampers him a little bit. So, I mean, there's that. But yeah, I do agree that he's probably never going to be considered a top tier player again. He'll have his streaks, certainly, but not for a full season.
Well, the Phillies went to the mat with the Dodgers before being eliminated. The Dodgers are going to the mat with the Blue Jays to win this
great
World
series.
2 games to 2 as we go to game 5 tonight. 18 innings. It still only counted as 1 game.
And I watched it.
They played 2. You watched it all the way till 3 a.m.
I did.
Some great baseball going on in this World Series. The Phillies are right there with these 2 teams, though.
Yeah, they are, but they just got to get it done in the postseason, and that's been the problem the last couple of years. The talent is certainly there. You know, the lineup's going to change a little bit next year. We'll see who comes back, who doesn't come back, but the talent is there, so they got to figure out a way to put themselves over the top.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun to see how this thing plays out. I think everybody kind of felt the Dodgers were a lock to win this. Nobody told the Blue Jays. They're hanging around and playing good baseball.
What does Malloy say here? I don't have to watch baseball to know he's not elite. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he's a Pirates fan. He wouldn't know elite if it hit him in the head.
Oh, come on. Kid Camden checking in.
There it is.
Joe.
Joe.
Go Blue Jays.
There you go.
Robbie agrees. I still love you, Robbie. It's okay.
You probably follow the Union. I don't. Tell us what's going on there. They want a playoff game.
Yeah, it's the best 2 of 3. They're playing Chicago, and they play like a week apart. You know, it's like football. You need time to rest your body. So they won game 1 last Saturday. They're playing again this weekend. If they win, they advance to the next round. If they lose, they got to play a 3rd game against Chicago. So I don't know the schedule. I don't follow soccer that much, but there are a lot of Union fans around here. So, hey, go Union.
Go Union. All right. Anything else before we wrap it up? We said no deaths. We already covered that. So let's not talk anymore about that.
Yeah, rest in peace, Pierre. We didn't get to talk to the betting scandal that rocked the NBA last Thursday.
Yes.
Boy, that's kind of troubling. You know?
Yes.
I mean, it was only a matter of time.
Well, the funny thing about that is it's coming out that everybody knew all along that what's his name was running an illegal operation.
Yeah. They just kind of they thought it would go away, I guess.
The coach. He's a coach. He's running an illegal gambling.
Chauncey Billups.
Everybody knew it for years.
Yeah. So that's not good. And I mean, the NBA doesn't need that kind of thing because their ratings have come down in recent years, certainly. A lot of people not happy with the quality of the NBA play. So, yeah, that's all they needed.
Yeah. Well, it's probably not over. There's probably going to be a lot more.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's more involvement. More stuff will come out.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up, Bill.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that. We'll follow it and see how it works out.
Yep.
All right, let's wrap it up, and let's thank tonight's special guest, Bryan Cameron, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim, Chet, Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Wednesday, November already, Chet, November the 5th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook and on our Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel and on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel, and listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Go Birds. Let's go Flyers. And let's go Sixers. Heck, let's go Temple Owls.